Welcome back to Boo You Gore, the podcast where we talk true crime, laugh inappropriately, and question all of humanity's decisions. Because nothing says relaxing evening like murder, mayhem, and us judging everyone involved.
I love that. That intro is so perfect.
I mean, I'm here for the drama. You're here for the
I'm definitely the judging,
one.
which is funny because I start everything with like, I'm not to judge, but
Well,
not to judge, but I'm judging.
that's why we made a podcast, because we can judge all we want.
Exactly. But I have this was sort of a request, like she was on my list to do. And then one of my friends was like, you should do this one. And I was like, all right, I'll bring her a little bit forward. But then as timing and is it serendipity?
Yeah.
Would it be serendipity?
Yeah, I guess.
Would have it. The house that this happened in is currently up for sale.
And that is wild.
Right.
You need to tell people what happened there.
Yes.
Because what happened in that house,
it's not a casual someone cracked shits and shot someone.
Yeah, like yes, someone was murdered, but
this
what
is
happened?
brutal. Like,
yes.
Of all the shit that we've like watched, read, seen, this is by far one of the most, if not the most twisted story I've ever come across.
Yes. It is unbelievable that someone did these things.
Yep.
Batted an eyelash.
If this was a movie, you'd watch it and you'd go, oh my God, how far did they need to take it? That's not even legit.
This is way over the top. This is so unbelievable.
Yeah. And this was all so real, so true, and it happened in the span of like 5 hours.
This is definitely a wild ride of an episode that you're going to come up to. And it's funny because as we were discussing just before we started recording, I realised I was about to start researching this one as well. So we both definitely had this on our list. It's definitely, it's definitely a crazy story.
And that brings us to the very, very interesting story of Mrs. Katherine Knight. Another Aussie one, because it's just who I am at this point.
At least it's not South Australia, because what the fuck?
Yeah. I stepped just across the border a little bit this time. Just a little cruise, a little road trip. So this is a woman who made Fatal Attraction look like a rom-com, but she was special. So Katherine May Knight was born October 24th, 1955 in the tiny town of Tenterfield, New South Wales. From the get-go, her life was more horror than fairy tale. Her mother, Barbara, who was having an affair with Ken, so Ken and Barbie, a violent alcoholic who made a career out of drinking and domestic abuse, together had 4 children. So when they started their relationship, Barbara was married. Their relationship started as an affair and they left their partners and went on to have 4 children together. One of those 4 children was Katherine, who was a twin and was also the more feminine and homely of the two.
What?
So
I can't imagine what a twin.
Think what the other one is like. Katherine grew up surrounded by violence and hatred, and that would be all she would see and hear constantly. Her mother would repeatedly tell her that sex was awful and that men were pigs, children were sent from hell. But she just sounds like she was a bitter, nasty, cranky old mole.
But this would be a good example of the whole nurture nature thing as well.
Yeah.
And upbringing.
Absolutely. Because when you hear them talk about how feminine and homely Katherine was, and then you see how she turned out, you're like, well, she tried to be a nice person and the universe broke her. Not making excuses for her, because there is no excuses for what she did.
None at all.
No. So Katherine was tall and thin and was relentlessly bullied at school. She was always being mocked because she was more like one of the boys than one of the girls. So she'd be picked on by the boys, and instead of running away like a normal little girl, squealing and carrying on, she would stand her ground and belt the boys. So she was quite often in trouble for violence and for fighting at school, and she even assaulted a fellow student with a weapon while in primary school.
I did read that, yes.
So she was very, I mean, we're not talking a Disney princess here. Yeah. Like, she was well and truly.
You had to sort of take care of herself, but took it to a whole nother level.
Yep. So Katherine would leave school at 15 without ever learning to read or write. This didn't leave her many options when it came to work. However, at just 16, she landed her dream job following in her father's footsteps and got employment at the local abattoir, where she was quickly promoted from general slop hand to boning. So started off working there where it was literally her job to mop up blood and clean up the shit.
That was her dream job, yeah.
But she was so dedicated to the job that she went from that to boning. And that's sort of like going from, LA Parker to vice president.
Is that where they just literally debone the animal?
Yeah. So like
get
they're
all the meat
sectioning
off.
all the meat. Yep. She was gifted her own set of butcher knives and proudly hung them over her bed so they were handy if she ever needed them. Kath was well known around Aberdeen for physically threatening anyone who upset her, and she had multiple interactions throughout the years that would see her make good on those threats. So she was very
quick to rage, quick to be violent. Like, it was just...
And like just someone that you knew not to fuck with, I guess. Like she wasn't backwards in coming forwards by the sounds of it. So Kath met her first husband, David Kellett, while working at the abattoirs, and despite a very, very short dating period, they got married very, very quickly. David would become very, very acquainted with these outbursts of Kath's, but as any intense sort of relationship, it all started off as the perfect little relationship. Like, she was amazing, she was his soulmate, she was great, she was the best thing that ever happened to him. So they got married very, very quickly when Kath was only 18. So they had a very simple wedding where the pair arrived on a motorbike. David was already heavily intoxicated and he was riding pillion passenger on the bike because he was so drunk.
Wow.
So after the wedding, Kath's mother warned David, don't play around on her because she'll end you.
She was not kidding.
No, just subtle foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So the marriage proved particularly violent, and on one occasion, a heavily pregnant Knight burned all of Kellett's clothing and shoes before hitting him across the back of the head with a frying pan, simply because he'd arrived home late from darts.
Wow.
In fear for his life, Kellett fled before collapsing in a neighbour's house, and he was treated for a severely fractured skull. The police charged her, and Kellett dropped the charges.
Would that have been out of fear?
Yeah, I'd say so. It's funny that it's referred to as battered wife syndrome, because clearly it should be battered spouse syndrome, because she was all these stories that you hear. You quite often hear this in reverse.
Yes.
The woman dealing with this, not the man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was domestic violence at its absolute fucking
100%.
height.
Yeah.
So in May 1976, shortly after the birth of their first child, who they named Melissa Ann, Kellett left Knight for another woman and moved to Queensland as he was no longer able to deal with the abuse. The girlfriend that he moved to Queensland with was also pregnant with his child.
So he was
cheating while she was pregnant. Yep. The next day, Knight was seen violently pushing and throwing around her newborn baby in the pram as she walked down the main street of Aberdeen, and she was admitted to St Elmo's Hospital in Tamworth, where she was diagnosed with postnatal depression. She'd spent several weeks there recovering. After being released, Knight placed 2-month-old Melissa on a railway line shortly before a train was due.
I heard that one.
She then stole an axe, went into town and threatened to kill several people. A homeless man known to the district as Old Ted, who was foraging near the railway line, found and rescued the infant. By all accounts, only minutes before the train passed. Shocking. So Knight was arrested and again taken to St Elmo's Hospital, but apparently she recovered and signed herself out the following day.
I do what the fuck I want.
Yeah, I was fucked in the head yesterday, but I'm okay today. Like, that was 24 hours ago, guys. Stop being dramatic. So a few days later, Knight would slash the face of a woman with one of her knives and demanded that the woman drive her to Queensland to find Kellett. Some of the stories I found said that this was a friend of hers, that she'd gone to see her and she said, Melissa's sick, I need a ride to the hospital. And when they were in the car going to the hospital, then Katherine took over and was like, no, we're going here.
And obviously you'd be like, no, I'm not driving all the way to Queensland.
That's it. But then other stories say she was just a random and Katherine just got in the car with her. So what the truth is, I don't know. So the woman escaped after they stopped at a service station. However, by the time police arrived, Knight had taken a young boy hostage and was threatening him with the knife. She was disarmed when police attacked her with brooms, and she was admitted to Morisset Psychiatric Hospital. A police officer was stabbed in the event of trying to disarm her. He didn't charge her because he couldn't be certain if she stabbed him or if he cut himself. So he sort of just let it go. Yeah. Knight told the nurses that she had intended to kill the mechanic at the service station because he had repaired Kellett's car, which had allowed him to leave, and was going to kill both her husband and his mother when she arrived in Queensland.
Oh my God. So he was just doing his job, fixing someone's car.
Yep, and he was going to die for it. So when police informed Keller of the incident, he left his pregnant girlfriend and moved back to Aberdeen with his mother to support Katherine.
I was already so far away.
Right?
Why the fuck would I want to come back?
Had a whole new life going on, was free, was away from it. And you would think under the circumstances he would have a pretty good chance of taking the kid.
Yeah.
Like,
with all these times that she's ended up in a
you'd think he'd be able to be like, well, she's unfit, I want my child. I mean, 1976 was a different time.
Probably didn't want to.
Yeah. So Knight was released on the 9th of August 1976 into the care of her mother-in-law. And along with Kellett, they moved to Ipswich, a city west of Brisbane, where she obtained a job at the Dinmore Meat Works. On the 6th of March 1980, they had another daughter, Natasha, and in 1984, Knight left Kellett and moved first to her parents' house in Aberdeen and then to a rented house nearby. Although she returned to work at the abattoir, she injured her back the following year and went on a disability pension. Since she no longer needed to rent accommodation close to her work, the government provided her with a housing commission residence in Aberdeen. So her back, she did return to work after injuring her back, but the injury never fully healed, so she couldn't do her job properly anymore, so she ended up not working at all and received a $15,000 payout for the damage to her back.
That does not sound like a lot at all.
No, not really. I mean, I know in 1984 or whatever it was a lot more money, but for her back.
And then not being able to work now completely ever in that
that permanent disability. I can't do my dream job anymore, so I'll chop my husband's up instead. So fast forward through a string of abusive and volatile relationships, most of which ended in Katherine either hitting her partners or lighting their clothes on fire. We land in 1995 where she met John Price. John, or Pricey, as his mates called him, was a single father of 3, a well-respected minder and a great guy who probably should have just swiped left. And before anyone says anything, I know Tinder didn't exist. It was a joke.
Joke, that was such a
That's the effort I expected every laugh out of you forever now.
The whole cackle.
So Pricey and Katherine started off relatively normal. Bar fights, threats, restraining orders, the usual small town stuff. Katherine moved in with John very quickly and things spiraled fast. When John refused to marry her, she videotaped items in his home that he'd allegedly stolen from work and sent it to his boss. So these items were expired cans of bug spray.
Yeah.
There was an expired first aid kit that he was told to throw out. And he was like, oh, I'll take it home. Like, bandages don't expire. It was like pens, simple little shit. It's not like he was stealing, trays of gold or big bottles of chemicals. It was simple little crap.
Stationary and
Yeah. But not only did she send the video to his bosses, she booked a time with them for them to come to the house so she could walk them through the house and show them everything that he'd stolen. And because it was technically theft, he lost his job of 17 years.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Did not.
Perfect attendance, perfect work history. Everybody loved him. He was earning $100,000 a year.
Wow.
And just all gone.
And then that would be for next job, or why'd you leave?
Yep. So all because he wouldn't marry her. He refused to marry her because he owned his home and he didn't want her to get it. He wanted the home to go to his 3 children.
Which is understandable. They haven't been together long.
So he was like, we're never going to be married. I've already been married. You should only be married once. Like, that was his mindset of it. And he still had a really, really good relationship with his ex-wife. She messaged him one time asking him for help with money to get a fridge fixed, and he just brought her a new fridge and got it delivered. She was going away on holiday, so he sent money to her for the kids, take the kids on holiday. So it seemed like he was a really, really good decent bloke. Yeah. So John would kick her out. She would come back. Rinse, repeat. His friends begged him to leave her for good, but he said he was too scared. You can't really blame him. She had a history of violence, and she wasn't exactly subtle about her threats. Every relationship that she'd had in town had ended incredibly violently. Everyone in town knew that she was a problem. They say leaving, it's when you try and leave a domestic violence situation that you're in the most danger, which is a prime example.
Also, if everyone in town knew, why were you fucking dumb enough to get into a relationship to begin with?
Wouldn't you just avoid her like all costs?
See her in the pub, like, no fucking way.
That's it. Like, if you had to go there, you'd like pump and dump. Like, you're not going to be like, hey, let's be in a relationship.
Yeah, move in with me.
Yeah. You'd be like, no, you stay in your own house, psycho. So fast forward to February 2000.
And also, that is wild.
Right?
I think we were saying this before I hit record, but we both thought it was like the actual murder happened in the 70s, 80s. No.
Yeah.
It was in the 2000s.
Yep, not that long ago at all, like in the grand scheme of things. And even with the, like we're talking about with the house, the not disclosed in the listing that anything happened. So obviously there's a statute of limitations that it's passed. But 25 years doesn't seem
that long for what she does, so barbaric and like you'd think before modern times for some reason. I don't know why.
I mean, if there's DNA somewhere, there's DNA somewhere. But I feel like if you were to buy that house, because it's quite run down, if you were to buy that house and get in there and do renos, you're pulling up floorboards, there's going to be blood under them.
Yuck, 100% though. I didn't even think of that.
Could you imagine what you'd find there?
Because that would not be touched. They wouldn't have done anything with it.
Imagine renovating it and you're like, shit, we need biohazard suits when we pull the floor up.
Oh, wow. I did not think of that because what she does is fucked up.
Yep. And like, did they go in and replace plaster or did they just paint over it?
Like how in depth of a clean was it by police or whatever it was after?
That's it. So February 2000, John and Katherine have been together for 5 years at this point. So John Price and his de facto partner Katherine Knight would break up for the last of many, many times, when after a series of violent attacks culminated in Katherine stabbing John in the chest. So John, being typical country bloke, put a Band-Aid on it and just went about his business. So clearly it wasn't like she didn't stab him in the heart or anything, but she stabbed him nonetheless. She'd gone too far and this time he kicked her out of the house. Over the coming weeks, Katherine would continue to threaten, stalk and abuse John, which led him to filing a restraining order against her. On the 28th of February, John attended the Scone Magistrates Court and filed the order before returning to work, where he would mention to his work friends that if he didn't come to work the next day, Kath has killed me.
Yeah, like he knew something was going to happen.
Yeah. Apparently, the night before he filed the restraining order, he'd woken up to her standing in the doorway with her arms behind her back, and he felt like it looked like she had a knife. Turns out she did. And she'd commented to him and said, it's that easy
to get into.
Yeah. She's like, you're asleep. I've got the knife behind my back. Like I could have stabbed you.
That is the most psychotic thing I have ever heard.
Right? Spoiler alert. She stabs him. So 2 days before that, they'd had a scuffle. Neighbours had called the cops. Cops came out. John was covered in scratches and bleeding. Katherine had bruises. So on the night of the 27th, police came out to the house and gave John a restraining order, put a restraining order against John because Katherine had bruises on her. So then the next day when he was at work, he said, like, told his boss, and he was like, this, she attacked me and I've got the restraining order.
Yeah.
So the boss was like, well, you go down and you get one, which is what he did. So on the 28th, he got a restraining order, gave that to her, and then drank together that night.
Oh my God. Why?
Yeah. So he sat at work that day and told all of everyone at work, if I don't show up tomorrow, she's killed me. She's already showed that she's planning on it. She showed how easy it could be. She's going to be furious that I've got this restraining order. So his friends begged him not to go back to the house, offering him places to stay. However, John was scared that if he didn't go back there, Kath would hurt his children. So what he didn't know at that stage was that Kath had already organised for the kids to spend the night with friends. So he's gone home thinking the kids would be there. They weren't even coming home. He could have stayed anywhere else. He returned home to an empty house, drank with his neighbours for a few hours before heading off to bed at 11 p.m. While John slept, Katherine would let herself into his home. She watched TV for a while, then showered and dressed in some black lingerie that she'd brought earlier that day. So we've got restraining orders on each other. I'm going to go buy some lingerie and sneak into your house because that's sexy.
1 minute I'm going to sneak into your house and threaten you, and then the next minute I'm going
to... Yep. So she then woke John up and they had sex before falling asleep together, because that's what I want to do after I put a restraining order on someone.
Exactly.
So John was so used to Kath's strange behaviour that reacting to this would hardly seem worth it. Plus he knew what happened if you declined sex with Kath. a lesson her first husband learned the hard way when Katherine attempted strangling him to death on their wedding night after he fell asleep after only having sex with her 3 times. The fucking audacity.
How dare you?
This is a guy that was drunk getting to the wedding. She had to ride the motorbike because he was too drunk to ride the bike.
Yeah.
And he still managed to do it 3 times before falling asleep.
And that just wasn't enough.
So he nearly got strangled to death because of it. When John Price failed to show up to work on February 29th, 2000, his boss sent someone to his home to check on him. Wait, it's February 29th. That's a leap year day.
Yeah, it is.
Well, there you go. When John Price failed to show up to work on February 29th, 2000, his boss sent someone to his home to check on him. The whole town knew how ruthless Kath was, and after John's words the day before, they definitely feared the worst. The workmate visited John's Aberdeen home, which is currently for sale, where
turns out consensual.
If this sells, I want a fucking commission.
Help bump the price a little.
Yeah, right? So normally when the neighbour would get up to leave for work, John was already long gone. So the fact that his car was still there.
So as we're talking about the house for sale, I was going to be like, I wonder if it comes with the original curtains.
Don't you dare cut that out. Okay. Fuck. Oh, that was so good.
Was that my first naughty joke?
That was really good. I don't know if I'm impressed by you or disappointed by me. So after knocking for a while on John's bedroom window, the pair went to the door where they noticed blood and immediately called the police. The police arrived shortly after 8 a.m. and walked around the home peering through windows, knocking, calling out to occupants and getting no response. They went around the back to try and peek through the window to see if they could see anyone, and all their vision was blocked by a curtain that was hanging in the doorway. So with no answers and visible blood, the officers broke down the back door to gain entry to the home. Upon entry, they heard snoring and decided to follow the sound. On the way to the room, the officers noticed a pot that had just finished boiling on the stove and 2 meals sitting on the kitchen bench. The first officer would push the curtain out of the way to walk through the home to get towards the bedroom where they could hear the snoring and realised that he was covered in blood. Thinking that he had hurt himself breaking into the home, he sort of fobbed it off, had a good look at his arm, couldn't work out where the blood had come from. At that point, the other officer had already walked through and discovered the dismembered body of John leaning against the wall, turns to the first officer and says, "Hey, Scotty, don't look." So first thing the other officer does is looks. Mm-hmm. That's when he then turns. So looks, sees the dismembered body, turns to walk back and realises that the curtain he'd just pushed out of the way was in fact a human pelt.
If you don't know what that means, please.
So a human pelt is basically the human version of like a bear rug. Mm-hmm. So he had been completely skinned in one piece.
Mm-hmm.
So that,
and this is the fucked up thing that I'd read somewhere or heard in a podcast, that she did such a good job of skinning him perfectly.
That he could have been worn as a suit.
That, and that I think they partially put it together somehow to realise who it was. Like that they knew it was him because of how well she... Yeah, I don't even know how to explain myself.
It was basically like a person wetsuit, I guess. Like, could have just zipped it up.
Those like weird colourful skins that people wear? It's literally like that. It's what it was.
Like the green suits they wear for like the...
Yes, that. Imagine that.
Oh, yes. Yes, she did a... well, I mean, she had plenty of practice, so...
Yes.
So... The officers that attended the scene, the younger one of the two, I think his name was Sergeant Hughes. He ended up leaving the police force and needed a lot of therapy because he was...
Imagine fucking finding that.
Yep. So realising there was not a damn thing they could do for John, the officers turned back to the sound of snoring, which led them to a near comatose Katherine Knight asleep in her bed with empty pill packets nearby. The officers correctly assumed she'd taken an overdose. So forensic evidence would show that Katherine had stabbed Price with a butcher's knife while he was sleeping. There's the foreshadowing from the night before. So John awoke and ran to turn the light on before attempting to escape. Kath would chase him through the home, continuing to stab him as he ran for the front door. He managed to open the front door and get outside, but he either stumbled and fell back in, or he was dragged back into the house. He was then dragged into the hallway, where he finally died after bleeding to death from 37 stab wounds.
And with the butcher's knife. That's
And these knives were kept sharp and pristine.
Yeah, I was about to say, imagine how much blood there would have been throughout the entire house.
Yep.
Because after every strike, sorry, how many did you say?
37.
37.
And one of the things that I was listening to said that in the hallway where he finally laid and bled out, the blood was coagulated an inch deep.
Holy shit.
So that's a lot of fucking blood. So most of the stabs would hit vital organs. He had no chance at all. No chance against his former lover. After she knew he was dead, went into Aberdeen and withdrew $1,000 from Price's bank account. Knight returned to the home and dissected John's body. She skinned him and hung the skin from a meat hook on the architrave of a door to the lounge room. Forensic officers said that the skinning was done with such precision that John could have been worn as a suit. He was able to be pieced together like a meat suit puzzle.
That's horrific.
So she then decapitated Price and cooked parts of his body. Police found Price's head in the pot on the stove, complete with vegetables. The pot was still warm, estimated to be at between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius, indicating that the cooking had taken place in the early morning. The plates that were sitting on the kitchen table contained a serving of meat with baked potato, carrot, pumpkin, beetroot, zucchini, cabbage, yellow squash, and gravy in 2 settings at the dining table, along with notes beside each plate, each having the name of one of Price's children on it. The meat in those plates were later discovered to be John's butt cheeks. So there was originally 3 meals, and John has 3 children.
Mm-hmm.
One of the meals was thrown outside on the back grass, and the other 2 were sitting at the table. So what they believe that Katherine attempted to eat the 3rd one herself, but couldn't, so she threw it out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's more likely that she made it for the 3 children, but because one of the children no longer lived at home with the mother,
didn't have to.
Yeah. So she disposed of that, realizing that there was only the 2 children that would come to the home.
Yeah.
So she'd set the meals up for them to come home and find.
Okay.
That's like, there was no evidence of that. That's just my theory. Like, there was 3 kids, there was 3 plates. It makes sense.
Yeah. Or almost like throwing out the back in anger because they weren't coming, kind of thing.
Yeah. That's it. So they say the theory that Kath had tried to eat it and then couldn't go through with it and thrown it out was used to support the claim that she had no memory of the crime and that she was completely insane at the time of doing the crime. I don't think you can claim insanity when you threatened to do it for years.
And everyone knows you, for being that threatening.
That's
Maybe
it.
lobotomize her.
Right? Let's practice a lobotomy on her. You can't claim insanity when you threatened it for years. You can't claim insanity when you had a practice run the night before.
Mm-hmm.
You can't claim insanity when you left the house, then came back to the house.
And you have restraining orders against each other.
Yeah. You completely knew what you were doing, you psycho. So Knight arranged what was left of John's body with the left arm draped over an empty 1.25 litre soft drink bottle, missing his genitals with the legs crossed. So this was claimed in court to be an act of defilement, demonstrating Knight's contempt for Price. Knight had left a handwritten note on top of a photograph of Price.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just all very
thought out and very... That was not insanity.
Nah. And she'd bragged to her brother previously that she was going to do it. Like, she had bragged to her brother that I'm going to do Price in. And she said, I'm going to do Pricey in and I'll get away with it because they'll think I'm mad.
Mm-hmm.
So whether she went to this extent to try and be like, hey, look how
Crazy
bad
I
I
was.
went. I was crazy. She'd also twice tried to pay her nephew. So one time she offered him $500 to steal and burn John Price's car. And the other time she offered him $500 to throw acid in his face.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And both times the nephew refused. He was like, I'm not doing that. You're crazy.
Yeah.
So the note that she had left with his body was not only blood-stained, but it also contained small pieces of flesh on the note, proving that she had written it during the process of dissecting his body. So the note read, time got you back, Jonathan, for raping my daughter. The spelling was atrocious. You too, Beck, who's Price's daughter, for Ross. For little John, now play with little John's dick, John Price. So there was never any proof that any of the allegations in the note were true. Like they think she totally made it all up just to try and make it look like her killing was justified. But I don't know about you, but I damn near had a stroke reading that letter because it made no sense.
It was like she'd written it in the heat of the moment.
Yeah, like trying to make him look like he was a pedophile
or something. Yeah.
But like there was nothing found to be any truth at all. Like from what everybody says, John was a really, really good bloke.
Sounded like a good dad.
Yeah. And he just fell in with a nutcase. So Katherine Knight was obviously arrested at the scene, and after seeking treatment in hospital for the overdose, she was taken straight to jail with no bail. In 2001, she became the first woman in Australian history to be sentenced to life in prison without parole. The judge literally wrote never to be released on her papers.
Thank you.
Justice.
Now that's who should never have.
Absolutely.
Any,
So she attempted to appeal.
Yep.
And was laughed out of court. They were like, that's not even an option. We're not even going to do that. You can get stuffed, you crazy woman. So what we learned from this, that if your partner has a knife set above the bed, maybe leave them. If they own a knife set and work in a slaughterhouse, maybe leave them twice. If they have jealousy issues and are psychotic and get you sacked from your job and then fight with you for 2 years because you lost your fucking job that they caused you to lose, maybe leave them 3 times. Yep. And I guess it shows, like, this well and truly shows that domestic violence does happen to men as well.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just John. It was her 3 partners beforehand. They were all assaulted, attacked, brutalized by her. And then when these guys would get to the end of their tether and react back to her, she would run straight to the police.
Yeah.
Like, she's beat them, burned them, done all this shit to them for years, and then they finally snap and smack her back and she goes straight to the police. She would get the restraining order and the men would be told, oh, she's just a woman.
She's just a woman. And it makes it harder for, obviously, anyone coming forward with domestic violence and things like that. It makes it hard, but...
Yep. Well, literally no one paid attention. No legal person paid attention to John's claims until he had 37 stab wounds and his skin was hanging from a fucking door frame.
That is still unbelievable. I just can't... You would be so messed up finding that. Knowing that those cops pretty much retired from the force after that case, after that day.
I'm also fairly sure, because I looked into all of them and never saw it mentioned. I never saw anyone mention where his penis ended up.
Oh, really?
So, like, when she drove to the ATM, did she just launch it somewhere?
And just walking through the woods and finding genitalia.
Finding someone's bits there.
I was going to say also, she's never getting out, ever. She is in prison for the rest of her life, and she's still alive, and she's currently, Silverwater Women's Correctional Centre.
Yep, and she apparently is an ideal prisoner.
Really?
She runs the place, she teaches crochet classes, she teaches knittings, she's Mama Kath to everybody.
Mama Kath?
Yep.
Is it maybe because it's an all-women's prison?
It could be.
Is it just men she has something against?
Yep. Well, I mean, her mum would have drilled that into her too.
The way she was raised.
Yep.
If she was assaulted at a young age, which I did read.
Yeah.
She tried to claim to her mum that a lot of family members, not her dad, but other family members were sexually assaulting her.
Yeah.
Up until the age of 11. And apparently her mum just said, just shut up and take it.
That's it. That's what you're here for. You're a girl. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
Which, it's such a shame, but I know we bring them up all the time, but like Morbid says, you can feel sorry for the child, but not the adult. Like,
as an adult, you have that choice. You have that of how you're going to turn your life. And where you're going to take your life and what you're going to do.
And it's like, it's not only, in domestic violence situations, it's not only the victim that should have the pressure to leave. If you're in a situation and you find yourself being an asshole to your partner, and they quite often feel sorry for it because the next day it's love bombing, it's apology, it's blah, blah, blah. If you find yourself like that and that's not who you want to be, you leave. You go get help. It's not just on the victim to get the help. You can decide you want to be a better person and go and do it.
But then it's also like some people don't have that empathy, or they don't have... People are just built different. Yeah. Some people are just built with different wires and screws in there.
100%.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. But yeah, she was definitely a special one. But that was another one where it was like, that could have been a two-parter so easily. Just going into her history could have been a whole episode on its own.
Yes.
Like her childhood and everything is a true crime episode on its own.
But there was a lot of detail. Like it was full on crime scene.
It was insane. Everyone that attended the crime scene have all said they've seen nothing like that before. They've seen nothing like that since. Like it's just on a whole other level. And trying to condense it down where it could be kept into like in under an hour was crazy.
But it's also just so crazy to think that this happened within the last like 20 years.
Yeah, in our lifetime. I'd finished high school when this happened.
New South Wales is not that far.
Yeah. So when I like thinking about it now, it's like, wow, that was... When I read the book, it would have been 2003, 4. So it would have been very, very new then.
So what's the book? Is it just like
it's called Bloodstain.
Bloodstain.
Yeah, and it's a true crime book. Really, really good book. Really, really detailed. Yeah, and the way you read it, like there's no... I mean, we gave clues about the curtains and stuff beforehand, but like in the book there's not.
Okay.
And then you just get to this point, you're like, what the fuck? And I remember sitting on the bus and being like, I gotta read that again. So I went back a chapter and read. I was like, oh my God, she skinned him and hung him from the door. What the heck? So he, like, from his body lying in the hallway, bleeding out, to his skin hanging up, bleeding out.
To like put that together. Like you see a body and you're like, oh my God, someone's dead. There's a body on the ground. But then to visualize what legitimately looks like a skin curtain hanging, to visualize just literally skin torn off of a body. So that's just all muscle. I just can't visualize that.
And like
put together.
My brain goes to the like, everyone who knows me knows I like taxidermy and stuff. I can't do it, but I can watch it and that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's some animals that you can sort of like rabbits and mice, you can just sort of like slice them at the bottom and just peel their whole thing off like a sausage. But then there's other animals that you've got to kind of like lift the skin and slice it and lift it and slice it and lift it and slice it.
I was literally just trying to visualize that.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you would like? Is it stuck to the muscle? Is it?
Yeah. Like how does a human be degloved?
Medically degloved?
Like, can you just like put slices in their feet and just peel our skin off, or like
did she have to slice each every couple medically? Someone explain to us.
I want to know.
Please let us know
if you do autopsies and you've ever had to skin someone. Because I don't know if I want that in my Google search history.
I mean, I've Googled some really suspect things before, but that's maybe a bit much.
When I listen to cases and they're like, and their Google search history, and I'm like, fuck. Crazy.
That was definitely a insane story.
But it was really just scratching the surface.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you want to... If you want to fixate on something and deep dive on something, deep dive on that case.
Yeah. I think one good thing is that the law
did the right thing.
All on the same page and all want her to stay behind bars. She's not someone that, from all these violent stories, how the whole town knew her as this violent person, I don't think that's someone that's going to change that quickly.
And there were like stories with her husbands where she would say to them, oh, here's some money, go down the pub and have a couple of drinks. And then they'd go to the pub And then she'd ring the pub 10 minutes after and be like, tell him to get his ass home. He's got a family here to look after. She sent him there.
She'd probably do that to
Yeah.
make them look bad. They're just out drinking and...
That's it. And they're thinking, oh, here's my amazing wife who chucked me money and told me to go down and have a couple of drinks. And now she's going mental because you haven't...
Because who's going to believe that?
Yeah.
When they're like, oh, no, she gave me money and told me to come here. They'd be like, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Why would she ring up screaming?
Why would any woman do that?
Yep. Exactly.
That's insane.
But in other cool, awesome news, we are, thanks to our listener in Chile, we are top 100 podcast in Chile.
So that was top 100 in true crime.
Yeah.
But that's still crazy.
Yeah,
it's
that
exciting.
Was really, really cool to get it. Because they send, like, when you hit certain milestones, you get a little email. And that was just really cool to see that we were top 100 in something somewhere.
In a country. And just the places we're reaching. Sorry, I'm on the app now having a look at the stats. Just the places we're reaching as well. All outside of Australia. There's so many people that we're getting internationally. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just amazing to think that, you know, there's people out there that have come across it generically and gone, hey, I want to listen to this.
Yeah, because we're not marketing ourselves very well.
Yeah.
Or at all, to be honest.
But yeah, so we're very, very appreciative of you guys. We're appreciative of everyone, but like it's just so different where it's, you know, the whole other side of the world and people are listening to us.
And we've got people listening and are coming back to listen.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yep. So we
nice.
appreciate you.
We do.
Hashtag love heart hands.
I think there's no other way to end this one because I guess there was a good outcome for it. She's locked away.
Yep.
From hurting anyone else.
Literally until the day she dies.
How old would she be now? Like in her
I think she was 67 or something.
67.
Well, she was born in 55, so she'd be, 70? Yeah.
70s, yeah. Mm.
So...
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, now this time you have to hit the bells and hit the likes and the follows, or we'll fucking skin you and turn you into curtains.
And then sell it 20 years. I'm quite proud of myself for that joke.
Yeah, that was really good. That was brilliant.
As fucked up as it is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mum.
Your mum's sitting there like, you gotta stop hanging out with that Jade girl. She's a bad influence.
Sometimes I just really hope that because English is her second language, I'm just really hoping she won't understand my joke. It'll just breeze right over her head. I love you.
Good.
Right.
That's amazing.
As Jade will say, hit the little bells.
Yep.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.